So how can we then, because of course we would want to we want nature to work, in our favor and all. How can we be one, with nature? You're probably going to mention love, practice of principles. Am I correct?
That is it. That is it. If you want an example now, go to the New Testament of your Bible and read all the Gospels from Matthew to Mark to Luke and John. And then you'll find this man who became one with nature by his life. And then just live according to his teachings. All the teachings, everything we are saying here, they are all there. Live according to those teachings. You can live according to those teachings and build your life around those teachings. You'll be one with nature, just like he was one with nature. He became one with nature. He became one with nature. And nature said of him, I am pleased with you. So all the steps, he came to teach. All the teachings are there. I mean, that's the closest that you can get to coming from a Christian background. That's the highest and the nearest to you. Okay. When this happens, blessed are these people. Blessed are these people in spite of their sufferings, for they shall do this. Blessed are these, even though you are called by this, for this is your reward. So all of this will take all of this into meditation and they'll be explained to you. All right. So if you are tired of hearing practice of principle, you are tired of hearing love, like he also was asked, where did we get this love? He also was asked, just like you are tired of hearing the same thing. There had been so many things about how do we do this, how we do it. And then they came to ask him, what is the summary of all of this? Just tell me the one thing that I will do, and I will know that I have kept all of these 40 different principles. Said, okay, you want to hear the one thing that you will do, and that will be the summary of everything. And once you do that, it will be counted like you have done everything. It is to love. To love. To love the things of the Spirit with all your heart. Actually, there are two. Even the second one is just like the first one. Even the things that are not of the Spirit, your people that you can see materially around you, love them as well. So still the same love. Isn't it the same love we're talking about now?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Then,
all right.
Then when he said, but how can I love God that I do not see? It was still explained in the same book. Actually, you cannot love God that you cannot see. The only way to love God that you cannot see in several areas is to love your neighbor, is to love your brother. Love your brother so much that even if you had something for this God that you cannot see, and suddenly you remember that, I'm not in a good state of mind with my brother. I have impurities in me because of the love that I have lost for my brother. Leave that which you have brought to your God that you cannot see. Go back. Make sure that the love bridge is established again between you and your brother before you come back. So all of these things are there. Love is that important. So the teacher has already told you how to be one with nature, how just like he was one with nature.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned earlier that I'm tired of hearing the word love. No, I am not. I'm just surprised that you apply that its application is in virtually everything. Like I was actually expecting when I asked the question about addictions and the principles that can be applied to that effect, and you mentioned love, and it got me thinking, like, love, how does that, or how does that heal, or how does that cure that addiction? So I was just wondering.
Yeah. It's actually practice of principle. The love comes into play when you are practicing principle. Make sure that you are practicing it on the foundation of love. So if I say love, I will not be answering it, but practice of principle is the real thing. Love comes into that equation. You are practicing principle, you are not getting results. What's the problem? You are not planting it on fertile ground. That's why it's not germinating. So love will make the ground fertile. Practice of principle is the real thing. What is practice of principle? Yeah. Practice of principle basically means you are thinking less. Okay, that still brings us to love. Practice of principles. Again, we talked about the summary. For example, let me give you an example of practice of principle. Just an example, and then we'll dwell more on this subject. We'll dwell more and more on this subject here. Now, let us draw from the spiritual by what we know in the physical. Because what is seen is derived from what is unseen. What we experience here is only a reflection of what we are not experiencing. What is made here is from there. So it is okay, since we are not there, to see from here, from there. It's okay to extrapolate, that's a mathematical word, and try to imagine what is beyond there from the image. We can try to imagine what the object is like from the image of the object that we are experiencing now. All right, there are so many ways to look at it, and we can draw 80 different principles. All right, so which one do we draw now? Okay, let's look at this. We said it's good to be a river, right? Okay. It's good to be a river so that since you allow the good things of life flow through you, even when they are not good things of life, even if they are evil things of life, don't hold the evil to yourself and let it hurt you. Let it go through, pass. Okay. Let it flow. Okay. So what does this river enjoy? It's enjoying water flowing from where? Flowing from source. I mean, the source of the water, not source as in. Flowing from wherever the water is, oasis or river, or whatever the water is coming from, usually an oasis is coming from there, right? So if this river, by some ways, shuts itself from that source, disconnects itself from source, would it still have access to the water flowing through it? No. No. All right. So what is the work of a river if there is no water? So it will stop being what it is. Stop being what it is. All right. Now let us apply that as principle. And something as simple as just this one can just correct your mental state and bring you to a place where you are now in better control of your mind and things will begin to happen. As simple as this can cause the miracle. So this is me. Why is life like this to me? Why is life not how I want it? Life will not be to the river how he wants it, only if it's disconnected from source. What is my problem? Let me look at my source. What's my source? I mean, in the material world. Okay. My parents. My parents will definitely be, irrespective of how I want to source from academic perspective, from whatever angle, my parents will definitely be a role. Oh, source. If a river disconnects from source, its glory stops to shine. It's no longer a river. To be spat on, nobody, So I am spat on. I'm not where I ought to be. I'm not recognized. Could I be a river that is disconnected from source? Who is my source? Have I been taking care of my parents? Do you see how all of the, well, I've arrived though, you are still expecting me to. I've come to conclusion. So the question that arose from all of this, my fate of not being what I really should be, what I desire to be, is it because I am disconnected from where my water should be flowing from, and therefore I am dry without water? If that is the case, then I need to connect back to my source so that the water would flow through me. Water in terms of, in this case, the goodies of life.
Yeah.
So where's my source? The first source that comes to my mind is my parents. Am I taking care of my parents? The care that I claim I'm taking of my parents, is it fair enough? Is this fair enough? I'm making 100 naira and then I give my parents 1 naira. Is that fair enough? Is that how to take care of parents? Begin to ask yourself these questions. And then once your mind vindicates you and say, yes, you are taking care of your parents, you have passed, then maybe that's not where your problem is. And then if you take this deep into your mind and ask questions, not just, this is a problem you are trying to solve.
Yeah.
And then your mind will not deceive you. Your mind will tell you. Your mind can ask you, have you ever given something so much to your parents that they are impressed, or whoever is living is so impressed and says, my dear, come, let me pray for you? Have you ever happened? Have you ever prepared porridge for your, using your biblical story, for your father so much that his heart is so gladdened and he says, my dear, come, let me pray for you? So it's not magical. It's not magical. Have you built, maybe you don't even have money to build house, but have you done something sacrificially so much that they are so impressed and they say, that prayer is just an expression of, I am for you. Even they did not physically say, come, let me pray for you, so much that their heart is so gladdened that you feel that you now have a place in their heart, and therefore you have opened the door that was closed for connection. So it's not everything that is deep spiritual. So that is practice of principle.
Okay.
Coming to this knowledge enough to know that I have responsibility to my source. I must continue to pay homage to my source so that whatever should flow through me and through me to the rest of the world. So if I have blocked that entrance of whatever should flow through source, from source through me, then you have to open it. This is the way to open it. All right, it's not parental. What about take it to other levels? What about your academics? Where's your source in your academics? What's your source in finance? What's your source in all of this area? Make sure you always lubricate them like you will lubricate your engine that is always working. Lubricate your source. That way they can give and let whatever they are. They are not going to be there forever. All right?
Oh, they wouldn't?
Yeah, they will not be there forever. So while you still have them, lubricate that source and make sure liberation by giving. However, where does love come into all of this? Don't go grudgingly doing it. Say, they say, now you they do me. Therefore, make I rest. Not that kind of mind. And nobody even say, well, but with love, with appreciation, then you are sowing on fertile ground. So that even if it is now no longer in their courts, even nature would know that deep in your heart, you did this out of love, even though you were misrepresented. You must ask that question. Even though it was misrepresented and therefore by their own standard, you are still found unforgivable, and therefore even nature will take your side and say, this is genuine love. Well, they can keep their grudges and keep, as for you, that road that they refuse to open, I see that you sincerely have repented, or sincerely it has come to your consciousness that this is what you should have done, and the road will open for you. So from that perspective of how many things can I do and how many doors can I open, we can list and list and list. But fundamentally, it's still around the concept of seek, what's that word? What's that phrase again? Whatsoever you would that man should do unto you, go and do unto that man. Go and do unto nature. It's just that this time, you are now searching specifically amongst the category of people for this specific kind of gift.
Okay.
And then make sure that when you do it, you are not doing it mechanically. Just let's say make I do it, but do it out of love. If it takes 3 days to first of all build, like the choir would sensitize the atmosphere with praise and worship before the pastor eventually comes, you know, like if it takes 3 days for you to first of all create that atmosphere of love before you eventually do, go ahead, it is worth it. It is worth, first of all, creating that atmosphere. I mean, mobilizing your sensual and your spirit to come into that atmosphere. If you have to meditate, they raised me, they loved me for 3 years, they know all the, just bring yourself to the reality of all of those accolades that and those poetry that you never normally read. Soak yourself in that mood and make sure now I'm actually in the mood for love. I really now do appreciate them. I have created this atmosphere, and then go to the sewing and say, Mommy, this is 1 naira.